old saying, abs are made in the kitchen, hits home deep with us fitness enthusiasts. Because we all know, no matter how hard you train, you cannot outwork a bad diet. And our guest today knows all too well about how important that is. So well that him and his brothers in 2017 started their own meal prep service to help motivate them with their father. Now, Neutr Meals spans all over the East Coast, helping people every day achieve their personal and fitness goals. My name is Christian Bandera. Welcome to the Escape Podcast. I'll be your host this evening. And across from me is my co-host, Vinny Dos Santos, a.k.a. Mr. Newlywed.
Oh, yeah, that's it
yeah.
right there.
Congratulations.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's up, Mr. Newlywed? How does it feel?
It doesn't feel too different. It feels kind of the same, to be honest.
Oh, yeah?
It's just someone told me that it's basically like just having a permanent roommate. So that's basically what it is. It's kind of a
Basically the
permanent
same
roommate.
Any fights yet?
Changes.
No fights yet.
Okay, good.
We never really fought like that. So
Yeah. Definitely. Awesome. But no, hey, I'm happy for you, man. I hope it all works out.
Thank you, sir.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, our guest this evening is a North Shore native. He started in the restaurant business as a waiter, and now he owns 3 well-known restaurants here in the North Shore, Toscana's, as well as Neutr Meals, Premier Home Solutions, Marty Capital, and he's a co-host of his own podcast, Behind the Rise Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Lucio Perrina Jr.
The man himself.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate
Thanks for
you.
coming.
Grateful
Thank you for
to be
coming, man.
here.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
Man.
So, Lucio, how we do the podcast, I mean, you've been on a podcast, you already know.
Yes.
You have your own. But how we do our podcast is we like to have everyone know who our guest is.
Sure.
So we like to give the backstory, a.k.a. the origin story, I like to call it, because we're all like superheroes. So if you would like to give everyone your origin story, that would be much appreciated, Lily, all the way from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thought a little bit about this today. So, I'm going back way in time, right? So, my story started, my household it's an entrepreneurial household. My mom and dad both are entrepreneurs. My father was he did road work. So, he did water and sewer for, city, states. So, like where your water comes into your house, he was doing that kind of road work. My mother has her own marble and granite company. They've been flipping houses and things like that their whole way. So, that's all I was surrounded by my entire childhood. So I never, ever thought for one second I was going to have a regular job. So that I was wired to think like we're going to find our own way. I don't know which business it's going to be because we didn't really have interest in the construction. We didn't really have interest in the marble and granite. But, I knew going into college that, I was just going to party for a few years. Then I was going to get to work after that. And we had always known that it was going to be with our 3 brothers too. We knew we were gonna stay together. That was never a question. Like our father drilled that into our heads all the time. You guys, you're stronger together. The more you stay together, the stronger you are. So that was another thing that was just built into us coming in. So my first job was in high school. I worked for like an old school Greek sub shop and I delivered pizzas. And that's where I realized I would get tons of praise from them. So that's what I realized, like, I found out I was a hard worker, and I was good at solving problems. Like at 16, 17, as soon as I got my license, they had me doing a lot of shit for the sub shop. And, that kind of instilled in me a little bit of confidence at that time, Then I went off to college. During the time I was in college, my father and my brother somehow came across a restaurant that was for sale. That was the original Toscana's in West Peabody. So my father put up the money. It was $250,000. It was about 8 or 9 months it was my senior year in college that this started. So I was flying back my entire senior year. I was coming back and forth. I need a waiter tonight. I need a bartender. So I didn't really know. We didn't know shit about the restaurant business. First of all, not the only experience we had is my family in Italy. So my nucleus of my family, like my 2 brothers, my mother and father, that's the only people here in this country. Everybody else in Italy. If you go over to Italy, every single person there is in the restaurant business of some sort. So they're either, a line of bakeries, wedding venues, restaurants. It's all food and hospitality, everything over there. So my father realized that we weren't interested in construction. He said, the second best thing I know, he grew up in a restaurant. So he said, let's do this. So we ended up buying Toscana's Peabody. At the time we bought it, we were doing $10,000 to $12,000 a month. So we grew up in Reading, and this obviously is in West Peabody. So we didn't really know, even though it's still in the North Shore, it's kind of disconnected, Reading and the rest of the North Shore. So we didn't realize we had bought a restaurant that had a brutal reputation at the time, like awful. So within like the first few months of buying it, we were all pumped. First of all, we thought like, we were getting sold from the previous owners, like, hey, you buy a bottle of wine for $8 and you sell it for 48. We're like, damn, we're gonna be fucking rich, dude. Like we're gonna be showing up with fucking shooting ties, suits, you know what I'm saying, walking around the dining room, shaking hands, kissing babies. We found out quick that wasn't the case, So I graduated college. I literally from the freaking day I graduated, I just jumped into the restaurant. I didn't look up for probably at least 5 or 6 years. It was just day and night trying to figure it out.
What'd you go to college for?
I went to college for finance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did like accounting and finance.
So you like the numbers?
Yeah, I'm more of the analytical, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But school-wise, I didn't really do well. I was just like getting by. Like I had no interest in any type of schooling.
You wanted to party the whole time?
Yeah, I partied my ass off in college.
Do you think that helped you at all?
No, I really don't. I don't think. Honestly, I don't think I learned a single thing in college. I really
Amen.
Don't. I really don't.
I feel that.
Amen to that.
I learned more in high school from good coaches and stuff like that. I played football. I played lacrosse. I played basketball. I had great coaches through high school. I learned much more from them than I learned the next 4 years in college. Definitely.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So where the hell are we? We got to.
So right out of college, you're at Toscana's. You just went
5 to
head
6
in.
years, just
Jumped right
down
in.
working.
Yeah. So the first I want to say 3 years, my brother Angelo worked in the kitchen. He was a line cook, cooked every single night. I was a waiter. We took no paychecks. So we took my tips and we split them at the end of the night. That's what we survived off of for like 3 years, 3 or 4 years.
Damn.
After that, we took a paycheck. We took salaries of $200 each. And then the money just wasn't there. It took a long time. The first like 2 years, it was just, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't even tell anybody that we were in there. We didn't advertise under new ownership or under new management or anything. We kept the name because we didn't know. We had no idea. Like reviews and stuff like that wasn't as substantial as it is now. Like you could find the reputation of a restaurant in 10 seconds right now.
Yeah.
Back then, which was 15 years ago, it was different. I mean, there was Yelp and stuff like that, but it just wasn't the same. So it was more like we had to find out from the people, the word of mouth, But when we really found out that the reputation sucked is when me and Angelo were shopping at Costco for food. We were picking up like veggies and shit like that. And we had Toscana shirts on. And some guy came up to us, he's like, hey, you guys own Toscana's? And we're like, yeah. He's like, that place sucks.
Oh,
like basically like coming at us. And we're like, oh shit. Like, damn. We're like, well, what happened? He was there on Mother's Day. Food took 2 hours. Server was mean to him, blah, blah. But it was prior to us owning it. So that was like the pivotal moment that we're like, okay, this is bad. Like we really need to change things around. But again, we were young kids. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We ended up becoming friendly with the wait staffs, which was a big mistake that we made. Because we were young, dude, like 22. I was 21. My brother was 23. So we were just hiring our friends, like, this is cool. Let's watch the Celtics at the bar tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was like that for a couple of years until we realized, like, we gotta take this seriously. And is there money in the restaurant business? We didn't even know. So we supplemented in other ways. We were bookies for like 3 or 4 years. And we actually crushed it with that. That's how that like funded our entire lives. We were at one point we were making during the football season like 20 to 30 grand a week doing books.
Shit.
Yeah, a week. I'll never forget. We had one police officer that legit would lose. It was like 15, 18 grand a week every single week, and then this guy would show up and pay, and that would just be at the takeout window. The guy would pick up a pizza and hand me a $15,000 envelope.
What the hell?
It was crazy.
Did that guy do for a living besides be a cop?
I don't know. He must have had like a trust fund or something. I mean, who the hell knows?
It's all that stuff he's confiscating, bro.
Yeah,
I mean,
or
you
maybe
see
he's corrupt or something. Jeez.
Yeah, and people always paid too. It was crazy.
That's
we
good, though.
We never had a problem collecting money. People paid. So up until the time we had an opportunity to, so we're always in the real estate game too. So the second restaurant, the Beverly location, that came around. It was maybe 6-7 years after the first one. And that was the time we were like, all right, we got to get serious. So we cut the booking off, which was one of the hardest things we did, because we decided together, like, we're never going to grow real business if we're making 30 grand a week doing nothing, watching sports. Like, we want to grow this business, because it was obviously the right thing to do. So that's what happened. Then we started getting some traction. Once we learned the restaurant game, we expanded the bar. We added a function room, kind of like what you guys are doing now. And now it's it's becoming profitable. We're getting better at leading people, building teams. Little by little, it's turning around. I think now the PBD location is doing between a little over $6 million a year.
That's
when
great,
we
man.
bought it, it was doing like, I don't know, 400,000 or 500,000, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So from there, we after the Beverly location, I think the next step was that's when we got into Neutra.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we still weren't convinced that we wanted to be in the restaurant industry. It's just such a grind, We had not a lot of zero friends, zero. I missed every single bachelor party. I didn't go to anything, nothing, and neither did Angelo. So that was always, as a kid, you think that's what's important. We were worried about our lives. We have no social lives. We have no whatever. We got to find an industry that is better, that we can make more money and that we can still have freedom, right? Little did we know, if we just ran the restaurants properly, that could be a great source of income and we could still do other stuff, So that's what actually that's how Neutra came about. My father is type 2 diabetic. Angelo, my older brother, he's crazy. He'll literally gain 100 pounds and lose 100 pounds in a year, like twice a year for the
It's wild.
crazy. Like,
Dude.
You're talking about up and down. So he's done every weight loss thing under the sun. My father, he's always been on insulin, so we started prepping meals for him out of the restaurant, and that was after hours. So after we would close like 10, 11 o'clock at night, we would prep meals. Then we started. Some servers wanted it, and then some friends wanted it, and little by little, we have 10 people, 20 people, 50 people. Then we're like, all right, this is a business. So we added like a 600 square foot cooler outside of Toscana's Peabody. And with that whole entire operation ran overnight. So Angelo would cook. Me and my younger brother would package the meals. And then my younger brother would come from nightlife at like 2 o'clock in the morning and then deliver the food overnight. Wow. So that got us to like, I want to say we got to like 200 subscriptions like that.
And relatively quickly?
No, I would say after like the first like 200 people was a struggle. Then after that, it exploded a little bit. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we switched from having to order every week. You have to place your order every week to a subscription model. So as soon as we upgraded like the web platform, and we changed over to a subscription model, that's when we really started gaining traction. Every week it was another 20 subscriptions, 30, 40, 50,
Was it already called Neutra at that time?
Yeah.
When you were about the 200 mark?
Yeah, it was Neutra the whole way.
Okay.
It was Neutra the whole way. Yeah. Yeah, and then, little by little, it was, okay, we grew out of the kitchen. Now it's starting to impede on what's going on at the restaurant. So we rented a kitchen off-site. I think it was like the Holiday Inn or something. And then the Holiday Inn kicked us out. We moved to another hotel kitchen. Then during that time, we found a building in downtown Peabody that was way too big for what we need. 30,000 square foot building. But we know the real estate game, so there was multiple avenues of exit. We always like to have a lot of different options. If it doesn't work for Neutra, we can rent it for this much. The numbers still work. So we took the first chunk of that building. Then COVID hit, and Neutra exploded. We went from it was 500 to like 2,000 subscribers or something like that. And then from there, now we start to figure out everything's systemized now. We know how much a new customer costs. We know, we great email marketing, SMS, everything's integrated, everything's automated. We have a great marketing team. And the little by little things start to get more professionalized, less like just trying to figure it out day to day, ahead of things, forecasting what's coming. And then now we're at about 5,000 subscribers right now.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Really, really
Appreciate
happy.
that.
Damn.
Yeah.
I can imagine that it blew up during COVID because everyone was at home and then they couldn't go out and they didn't want to cook. So, boom, there you go.
Really?
Neutra is the answer.
Exactly.
Businesses either blew up or they just completely tanked.
And they blew up for Mr. Perrina
yeah.
over here and his family.
Yeah, COVID was it was a good time for us. It helped Neutra immensely. For the restaurants, it was scary, obviously. But we were pretty good at takeout. If you know Toscana's is known to do pretty good takeout.
Yes.
So we doubled down on takeout. So we added a second line. We invested at that time. So while the dining room was closed, we did a renovation in the function room. We upgraded everything and then spent some money on takeout. And actually, during the time of COVID, we went down only 3% from the year before.
Wow, dude.
Yeah,
That's
it was
insane.
fucking awesome.
That's wild. That's wild. I used to work over in Beverly. I used to work at a Rev Kitchen and Bar. And way before that, I got there, they were doing COVID, and they were doing the same thing you guys were doing. Doing it all takeout, and that's how they blew up, and they were able to bring everyone back.
Yeah, it was the people that didn't do takeout, or they just didn't care for it or didn't understand it. Those are the ones who really struggled.
Yeah.
And it matters what kind of food. I mean, there was a lot of luck involved too, because our food, it's Italian. Everyone wants pasta, pizza, whatever. It's good takeout food. Yeah. So that obviously helped. But we knew like instantly, like this is the way we have to go. You know, like let's just stay ahead of it. You know, and that ended up working out for us too. And that's actually when we found our third location was during COVID. Restaurants were closing. So we're like, all right, we have a little bit of cash. Let's pick up another restaurant during this time. This thing's not going to last forever, right? So we actually found one location. It was Maggia on Route 1 South. You know Maggia?
Maggia, yeah.
So we had that thing under agreement, plans drawn, ready to jump in. We were going to call it Toscana Mare. It was going to be, because it's really close to Bourbon Street, we were going to have it be like a seafood, more seafood oriented. And then COVID fucked it up, basically. I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was like whatever was going on in the news. We had an out, basically, like an act of God was like a reason to get out of the deal, and we took the way out. And then next up was the Stonewood Tavern. Yes. You know, they were knocking on our door for a while for us to be buyers, and then there was things we liked about it. They had a great function room. It was similar to West Peabody. It was something we were comfortable with. Location-wise, it's close to everything. You know, we felt like we could control it, and that's when now we have the three. And that's been open for about a year.
Yes.
At South Peabody.
I remember you guys opened, and I went there a week later.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
Yeah, it was great. Because I remember when it was Stonewood, I used to go there all the time. And actually, it's a really funny story because Vinny knows this story. Some of our equipment we got down the street in Saugus at a commercial building. And the landlord of that commercial building actually owned Stonewood. Yeah. So I'm like, and he said to me when I talked to him, he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to open up again after COVID. I'm like, okay. I'm waiting, and then Toscana opens.
That's what we were waiting for, too. We're like, they might reopen. That's what they were telling us.
Yeah.
And they wanted too much money at the time, the person you're talking about.
Gotcha.
It just wasn't worth what he was asking for. So we're like, let's wait him out, you know? Let's wait and see. You know, I don't think anyone's jumping down his throat to rent it right now. So we waited until the deal made sense.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So did you ever think in a million years when you were a waiter at the original Toscanas in West Peabody that you were going to have two other locations?
Yes.
You always knew that?
Yeah. No, there was zero chance in hell that we were going to just be a mom and pop shop.
Okay.
You know, that's the mentality we had. It was all the way. That was the mentality we had. It was going to be go big or go home. I didn't know it was going to take the direction it was going to take. I had no idea Neutra was going to come out of it. We actually ended up with an insurance office during COVID. So when COVID happened, we're like, all right, just in case this thing does last for too long, how the fuck are we going to make money? So that's when we opened an insurance office with some partners. And then we started looking into other things, and that's how Premier Home Solutions develops. And now that's solar roofing and water filtration systems. And that's also with partners. So it's been cool. I mean, it's been a fun ride. So now our path is kind of evolving. We never felt like we were truly restaurateurs, like to the core. We look at ourselves like we're business people. You know, we're entrepreneurs. So if it's a restaurant, we'll figure it out. If it's insurance, we'll figure it out. It's whatever the business is. I mean, all the principles are always the same. You know, right. Like when I come into you guys' gym, it's just another business. You know, like you guys are doing the exact same things that we were doing. It's really no different. It's just kind of a different application. Yeah. But it's all the same. You know. But no, absolutely. We knew there was going to be more. So right now we think we want to get the restaurants to about 10. And our focus is going to be equity partnerships. So we've had a lot of people coming to us lately asking for advice. They want us to start like a just help like younger people in their 20s. You know, asking us how they can how we can help them scale, advice and things like that. And we've been offered, you know, large piece of equity to help their business, and we're like, right now we just don't have the time for it. Like, it wouldn't be, we could just take it, but like, we're just not those kind of people. Like, unless we could make a deal and contribute, you know, enough to make sense for what you're asking, like, we're not going to do it. Like, we're gonna over deliver when it's time for us to do that for the people asking. We're going to be ready for it 100%. So that's what we're building out now. So we're building out at the same time our little internal marketing agency, because if you look at, that's what most of these small companies need, right? So to get from small mom and pop, there's the biggest places where people struggle is, one, marketing. It's usually you're stuck in your own business, right? And you can't, who's getting the customers? You know, it's like, how do you get them in a way that it's sustainable and you can count on it and you can put a price tag on it? It costs you so much to acquire a customer.
Yes.
And then the other thing is managing cash flow and bookkeeping. These people, their books are a mess. Since we've been looking into it, it's like, which ours were too. We've actually been audited 3 times. So if we weren't ever audited, our books would still be a mess, you know? But that's one of those things, like it needs one of those things that you need to go through in order to learn the lesson.
Yeah, definitely. I do the bookkeeping, so I think yours is pretty good actually. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
I think yours is pretty good.
Yeah,
because my mom's an accountant.
Oh, there you go.
So like she's teaching me how to do it correctly and everything. So like if I had any questions, I would just ask her.
Yeah,
so,
that's beautiful.
So I hope I'm doing it correctly.
Yeah.
I'm doing it literally manually too, and like not into it or anything like that. So I like to do it manually, so I know.
As long as
So
you
when I
know what's
pass
going
it on,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like, okay, I know how to do it. I know how you're gonna do it, and how much I should pay you to do it.
Yeah.
Because how long it took me.
Yeah, good books is important, you know, so you could forecast what can you actually do this year.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to come in this quarter? What's going to come in next quarter? What can we expect for the year? You know, what can we plan for? Can we open another location this year with our own money, or should we look for outside money? You know, so managing your cash flow, I think, is really important, especially for small businesses, because most people, they take the money themselves. They suffocate the business, you know. They take all the money out, and the business has no money to grow, you know?
Right.
So even to this day, me and my 2 brothers, I've never taken a single dime out of Neutra, not even a penny. None of my brothers have. We take right now $100,000 paycheck each, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
A yearly paycheck. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's it. And it's, the money stays in the business. Every quarter we evaluate, can we take any money out to put into, we have a separate company that we use just for investments. Can we take any money to go in there? How much needs to stay in the business based on what's coming up this quarter, next quarter, this year? And that's, you know, that's how we manage our cash flow. I think it's huge. You got to be able to forecast. You got to be able to budget.
Yeah, we're only taking a little paycheck as well.
Yeah, but you're growing the business, man.
We're growing the business.
I mean, that's what you got to do. You know?
Exactly.
So any of these guys that come to us that are interested in partnerships, first question we ask: would you be comfortable with taking a big haircut on what you're making in order to grow the business? If the answer is no, it's not somebody that we want to be partners with. You know, you need to be able. If you have no kids? You know, do you have a mortgage? Do you have what's your overhead? Because if you're 22 years old, you live at home with your mom, you could take $50,000 a year, and we could triple your business this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, so you learn a lot about people's mentality, why they're in business, you know, because usually if you're just chasing the money runs, you know. I don't want to be in business with anybody like that.
Gotcha. I like it. I like the way you think, because we're in the same boat right here when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
We knew that we need to take a whole big pay cut. We've taken no paychecks before. Honestly, this guy right here, I mean, he's been broke more times than I can count.
Bro,
I mean, that's the
fully
life we live.
invested.
Yeah, you
Fully
all day,
invested.
You burn
Like
your
that.
fucking boats. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, like you kind of create like a way for you to just not stop. In a sense, you know, like you're fully invested. Now what? Now you got to figure it out.
Exactly.
Because you have nothing to fall back on.
If you have a plan B, you take the plan B every time before you even know it.
Exactly.
If it's there, that's the road you take every single time.
There's this quote where it's like, if you hit rock bottom, make sure you land on your back. Because if you can look up, that's the only way. There's no other way than up.
Yeah, and the other things that we look for in people that we want to partner with is resilience. You know, like it's gonna be hard. There's gonna be long stretches of shitty ass times. You know, are you gonna stick it out? Are you going to be the first 2 weeks of a bumpy road? Are you going to run? You know, because it's going to happen. That's the life that we live as entrepreneurs. We choose that path.
Right.
You know, you got to be the person who loves it. You know, I want the kid who's, when that shit happens, they fucking put their war paint on and they're ready to go. You know, like that's what you want.
Yeah.
You know,
100%. 100%.
I was telling that to my mom the other day. I was like, I could never see myself working just a regular job again, being employed by someone else. I'd rather take all the shit that comes with this and just learn from it, grow from it, and go from there.
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You
Dude,
learn so much.
It's
man.
hard.
Yeah.
It's wicked hard.
Learn a lot about people.
Yeah.
You know, you learn a lot about yourself. You know,
100%.
Tell me
it's
about it.
it's a
Yeah, how much
evolution.
bullshit can you take before you break almost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I'm overloaded by bullshit, like the last 2 years I put a lot of time into myself, like my own personal growth. I hired a coach.
Like Bouchard.
Not a fit. Well, I hired him too,
Okay,
but I'm
yeah.
talking about like a life coach.
Okay, gotcha.
His name's Jeremiah Sullivan. Like I can't even tell you how much he's helped me. But he helped. Basically, what I had coming was I had two twins on the way. I needed to move out of my house. My house was way too small for with the 2 kids coming. We had the 3rd location opening. We're going to be over 300 employees when this restaurant opens,
Wow.
and I'm the one responsible for all of it. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, dude, it's either I'm gonna crumble right now or I gotta get better. That's the only way. So I joined some mastermind groups. That's helped a lot. Surrounding yourself with people that can show you what's possible. I think that's the number one thing you could do as somebody young trying to figure it out. If you don't know, like we talked about being patient earlier, right? Sometimes it's just not, there's no move to make right now, you know, but one move that'll never set you back is more exposure. Expose yourself to more things. You know, it's like the opposite of ignorance is awareness, right? So the more you're aware of, the more options you have. The more things you could do. You just see more. You see what's possible. And having a certain level of humility and never having an ego, that's how you continue to grow. Once you have a certain level of success, you see a lot of people, they take their foot off the gas. They think they made it. You know what I mean? Where we take the mentality of, dude, friggin' Donald Trump, you know, all these guys. I mean, there's people that make us look like ants.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And they did it in one lifetime. And you can make all the excuses in the world for, you know, oh, they got this, they got that. He got started with $1 million. You know, it doesn't matter, man.
Right.
It doesn't matter. They made it happen, and they did it in one lifetime. So there's always a bigger fish, and that's who right now we spend all of our time trying to get around people that think high level, that think bigger than us, that get us. Sometimes you get stuck in the weeds. You think like, I can't figure out this small problem with this one restaurant or this one waiter or this one manager or whatever it is. But when you're surrounded by people like that, they show you what's possible, you know, like, and it just opens your eyes to so many things. I mean, it's been a huge thing for us this year,
Definitely,
the last
definitely.
2 years.
Now, for the audience, what makes Neutra so different from all the other competitors?
So branding wise, that's actually funny you say that, because now that we've gotten to this level of scale, right? Like we're competing with companies like, I'm not saying we're close to the size of like Factor and Freshly's and like those monster players, but that's who we're competing with. So we've spent the last like 4 to 6 months talking every single day about why are we different? How are we just a meal? Are we just a meal kit or meal prep? And what we've decided what makes us different is there's a family behind it. There's a story behind it, and it was developed for our father, but our background is food, right? Like we grew up eating food. I never got takeout. As a kid, I had a home cooked meal every single night. My mom's a badass cook. So we know food, man, you know, like we love food. I know how to cook. I can make anything, you know?
Yeah.
So we had that background of food, so we thought flavor first, flavor. And then we modified it to be healthy for my dad. Where a lot of these other meal prep companies, they think macros first, and they lack in flavor. It doesn't really taste like anything. So our whole thing, it's variety. You're going to eat healthy without sacrificing anything.
Definitely.
So you're going to enjoy every meal still, but you're going to be eating healthy at the same time. We also put an emphasis on sustainability. So our packaging, we have a reusable bag system. So we keep our footprint small as far as waste goes. that makes us different. And this year we have some new things being developed. So we're going to add, it's almost like a second company, but it's part of Neutra. So we're going to call it Neutra Health. And it's going to be kind of like a holistic solution where we provide a coach. So there'll be some accountability. We'll give you your macros. And then we can also prescribe things like higher end supplements.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we're teetering on the line of which things we can prescribe to people, like how far down the rabbit hole do we want to go.
Yeah.
But we want to keep it as natural as possible. But we keep our mission in mind. Like, what's our mission? It's to get as many people eating healthy, living healthy as possible. So when you think about the mission, it kind of helps you. It helps you visualize who you want to be. So this feels like in order to take the next step of making people healthier and truly executing on that, we think that this is the way to go.
Definitely, 100%. Do you think you're going to ever get into supplementation?
Yeah, I think we're going to start by third-party, supplements.
Nice.
And then I think once we see what's happening for volume, then you start to see what makes sense for cost, making your own.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
kind of
dude, that'd be awesome for you
Yeah,
guys.
that would
That'd
be
be
pretty cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
We'd be repping it like crazy.
Right?
I would love to have that.
Yeah.
Because it's close to home. We know you guys, it's so much better when there's a good story behind supplements. Like First Form,
Yeah.
Andy Frisillo.
Yeah.
Great story behind that as well, you
Yeah.
know. So those guys I really like to support a lot.
Yeah, they're a major influence on us.
Yeah.
If you look at Andy and Sal,
Yeah.
I look at that. I look at their stories every single day. Like my older brother, he connects more to Andy because he had the weight issues. They struggle with. They're more like extreme people, so they connect a lot. Angelo actually went to a dinner with Andy Frisella.
No shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was pretty
wow,
cool. So
that's
he got to
awesome.
meet him.
That's
And you see the people at that table. When I talk about like surrounding yourself with high level people, anyone who he was sitting with at that table that day has brought so much value into our lives that it's not even funny. And we try to do the same thing in exchange, right? I think that's another lesson for when I came in here. I'm like, who am I talking to today? And I'm like, I want to talk to myself when I was 20 years old. Surrounding yourself with people and bringing value to those people, right? Like I think back to when I was 20. Anytime I met somebody, the first thing you think is, what can this guy do for me? How can he help me move forward? And now it's the complete opposite. It's what can I do for this guy? How can I be valuable to this person? And that's who people want to be around. You know what I mean? And that it reciprocates too. Like it just comes back to you every single time. And it feels good too when you're able to provide something for other people.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
So on that topic, like for you, like obviously I've seen some of your podcasts with Eric Spofford, for example, Zane. The one with Brian was really sick.
Yeah.
Del Masto, if I'm
Yeah. He
pronouncing
actually
that
just
correct.
died.
That was
Yeah,
that's super sad.
Crazy.
His podcast that you guys did was super interesting too.
Yeah.
But like on the same kind of like topic, like so how do you go about exposing yourself to these high level people where you can interact with them and learn from them and have dinner with them,
Mastermind groups. It costs money, but if you can afford it, do it. Like you can start with small groups. Like sometimes they're a couple $100s a month. They go up to thousands of dollars a month. The more money it costs, usually the higher level the people are in the group. But if you can afford, that's one of those things. Like if you're willing to live for less, like do you need that $5,000 in your bank account extra a month, or can you afford to get into this group, to take a small step back, to take a giant step forward, over the next 6 to 12 months or whatever it is, and create genuine relationships with people, not forced, organic, providing value for people when you're out there with that mentality. It's gonna come back to you every time. But I would say 100% mastermind groups, exposure, go to events. I struggled with that because I was in the restaurant industry, so there was no Friday and Saturday night for me. Like I'm not. And where are you going to, right? Like going out to the club, that's not exposure.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you want to go where the fucking badass business people are hanging out. Facebook groups, just reaching out to people. But I think mastermind groups, there's been an explosion of mastermind groups, and there's a lot of phony ones out there. So I think you can definitely waste money. So like tread carefully and really watch for a while before you jump in on one, and make sure that your values align and it makes sense for you. But any group that I've joined, Brian Del Maso, I actually knew him from his mastermind group.
Okay.
And I got connected to. I have awesome friends from there. But friends that are fucking badasses.
Who have been some of like the best like mastermind groups that you've joined?
Eric Spofford, he's got a super badass group.
He's got a crazy killing on like Instagram and everything. I feel.
Oh, dude, you talking about a savage? I mean, he's tough. He's a tough, just like a hard nosed business person. He's like, I respect. He's like on the top. You know, he's probably next to Andy Frisella for me as people I respect the way they conduct themselves and the way they do business. He does great business.
Definitely. Awesome. So now is our time to take a little bit of a break, give ourselves a little bit of rest while we talk about sponsors.
All right.
All right, everyone. Without our sponsors, we would not be able to do this video. So we'd first like to thank the BACP Group, which is Alex's business. Without Alex, we wouldn't be able to do this podcast. So Alex, thank you so much for helping us with the podcast. We always appreciate it.
Sir.
You are doing God's work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm sick. I'm sorry. I won't be able to be on the cameras today.
It's all good, Alex. It's all good. I'll help you up really quick. So guys, if you guys want to do a photo shoot, a video shoot, or your own podcast, hit up Alex. He is second to none. I've been doing them with him for a while now, and they are so damn good, these video shoots, man. Dude, like, I don't know how you do it. It's like magic almost.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So hit up Alex, everyone, the BACP Group right here. And then we'd like to also thank our second sponsor, Mr. Lucio Perrina's business, Neutr Meals.
Let's go.
So as business owners, sometimes we get really busy and we can't always find the time to cook. So Neutr Meals helps with that issue right there. So instead of wasting time where you could be doing something else to help grow your business or better yourself, you have Neutr Meals you can order and they can be sent directly to your door, or you can go pick them up at their many, many locations. There's a lot of locations, isn't there?
Pickup location?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Because my girlfriend has them like in her area, and she's in like West Mass.
Yeah, and
There's a bunch.
Massachusetts are everywhere. They're from like Massachusetts to New York. You could find a pickup location.
Literally,
Damn.
that's a lot too. That's a lot. So, I love Neutr Meals. I really do like them a lot because they have so many options. There's a low sodium option, high protein option, gluten-free option. Am I missing any options? There's a bunch of them.
There's everything.
There's a bunch of them.
those are
Keto is it keto now?
No keto.
No
yeah.
keto.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's a lot of them. I remember those ones because when we were doing the what's it called? The Murph Challenge. We were eating all of them, and then
Oh my God.
Chris ate like 6 of them.
Chris had 6.
Chris had 6
and
of them.
that's the thing about Neutr Meals. It is the flavor, right? Like it's good. Like it's actually good.
Exactly.
You know,
I
other
mean,
meal prep companies, you're eating plastic. It feels like.
exactly.
Thanks.
So, like, guys, Neutr Meals is the only option in this field right here that you should be using. So, give Neutr Meals a try. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Use KMF40 at checkout for 40% off your first order. Also, if you're a member at KMF Strong, you get 5% off your order every single day, every single time for the rest of your life. Am I missing anything?
No, you
No?
crushed it.
I think that's
Awesome. All right. And now back into the podcast.
You're getting smoother with these
I'm
things,
trying
man.
to. I'm trying
You're
to.
getting a little smoother.
Hey, maybe if Neutr Meals wants to, let me, do a little,
A little promo video or
promo
something?
video
Yeah.
or something. That'd be
Have a
cool.
promo, let's
I wouldn't mind that. So me and Alex were
I
talking
can't wait
about
till the
this.
beard one comes out.
Yeah. So me and Alex were talking about this because I've always wanted to be an actor because I'm really good at acting. I can make someone think I'm something else, literally. So I'm really good at acting, especially if I have like notes and I study them. Because Mark Twain, when he was doing his speeches, he would spend months on end beforehand studying and rehearsing before he would do a speech. And I'm kind of the same way. I will spend months on end, well, days on end, just rehearsing how I say it, inflection and everything, especially with these intros that we do. So I always liked acting. I always liked the thought of it. And I actually did a couple of acting skits when I was younger in plays. So
Yeah, the
Yeah.
opening he crushed too.
appreciate it, man.
I
Appreciate
wasn't expecting that.
it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
This dude plans like 3 days ahead. I swear.
So no lie, when I found out you were doing the podcast, it was like 4 a.m. because I woke up and I went to the gym. I opened it, and right then and there, when everything was all opened, I started, writing it down my notes on how I'm gonna do the intro, how I'm gonna do the script, and everything.
Nice.
So I don't want to blow steam on my ass, but I'm pretty good at what I do sometimes.
Pretty soon, you're not even gonna have to write it down. It's just gonna come out.
Yeah, well, there's some of them that just come out.
Yeah.
Some of them, but I wanted to do a really good job with this one because there was a lot of stuff to
course.
go over, especially all your businesses. So I wanted to make sure I hit on all of them.
For sure.
But now that we're done with our break, let's get into fitness, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Because you've been coming to KMF Strong for quite a bit now. What made you want to go into fitness? That big journey right there.
It was something that I've been putting off, like I put everything else first, like I was unhealthy, for a long time. I smoked cigarettes. I was up to 2 packs a day.
I can't see that.
Yeah.
Can't see that.
I'm just nervous, it becomes a lot of pressure, so like a lot of people depend on you, a lot of paychecks, a lot of payroll, a lot of stuff. So I was just getting more and more unhealthy. And then I think what really flipped the switch for me is when I found out that I was having 2 twin boys. So that was like, it was crazy. When I had my daughter, I changed, like when I had my first kid, I changed a lot. But when I found out it was 2 boys, it's kind of different. Now it's like these dudes are watching every single thing I do.
You got to set the example now.
Yeah, like now this is it, and when you start to learn about mindset and the subconscious mind and things like that, kids learn everything. Basically, their entire lives are programmed from 0 to 5 years old. So it's not like you have a lot of time to figure it out. They're watching, they're listening to every single thing that you're doing. So before they came, I wanted to put myself in better physical shape. It all works hand in hand too, better morning routine, just kind of become more structured as a person. Yeah.
That reminds me of Stretch Bro.
Oh, yeah.
When he said, what was the thing he said? Everyone says, I'll die for my kids, but will you be healthy for them?
Yeah.
And we were talking about how much harder that is, right? It's easy to die, you're done, right? You die, you're gone.
No effort, yeah.
Right, but to put the time in, to quit smoking, to hit the gym, to eat clean, would you do that for your kids? Right? And that's exactly what you're doing, and that's really awesome.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to combat your withdrawals? Are there withdrawals or
Not
addiction?
really. My whole thing was just like oral. I got to be doing something.
Gotcha.
To be sitting in this chair for this long, like I'll get anxious.
I'm right here just flipping this card. Like I need to be like moving. And
I lost my
something.
wedding ring. Like I'll just play with shit. I can't sit still. So
Okay.
it's more about that for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Once you start to see results, I just committed to it. I'm consistent by nature.
Yes.
So I knew this was gonna be like the hardest thing for me to do because it was just something it's been so long. I'm 35 now, and I never really ever put an emphasis on fitness. I had the nutrition part pretty solid, but the fitness, I just always, I'm good, because I was always pretty average size too. I'm like around 200 pounds. Like I'm good. I don't really feel like I need to lose weight, gain weight. But I didn't love what I saw in the mirror either. So that's what I'm going for now. I want to be, I want to walk out of the shower and be like, fuck yeah, dude, and that rolls into your day every day, that
100%.
you get
man.
that. It's a different energy you're carrying when your physical appearance matches,
Oh, man. Healthy body, healthy mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, we talked about it earlier. I mean, you're looking real good. Like,
Thank you. Appreciate
like
that.
I'm like shit.
Making progress for sure.
Like,
Hell yeah.
like, what is he taking? Is there something at
Got the special,
the
Neutr
special
sauce.
sauce? or
Toscana's
something?
meatballs.
Toscana's meatballs. There you
Yeah.
go. It's the protein.
Yeah, loaded
There
with
you go.
protein.
Dude, but that's great for you, man. That's great. You've been working with Mike for what, a year now, right? About a year almost.
With Mike, yeah, I think it's been about a year.
And you go to the gym 4 days a week.
4 times a week. Yep.
Yep, every time, in the morning.
Yep.
How hard is it to wake up early and actually work out?
In the beginning, it was tough.
Yeah.
Still 6 a.m. is tough, man. It's not like it's easy anymore, When he says you can come at 7, yep. I'm not like chomping at the bit to get there at 6.
Screw the morning, bro.
You know?
I'm all set.
But I have to, if my life is too hectic, like after 9 a.m., who the hell knows what's going to happen? I tried the afternoon, I tried nights. I couldn't make it consistent.
Yeah.
So since I went to that early time, nobody's bothering me. It's kind of like, it's my time,
Yeah.
like I know that first 2 hours of the day, it's just about working out. I don't need to hear from anybody. My phone's not ringing. Nobody's awake. And now I'm starting to enjoy it.
Sets the tone,
Yeah, it
Get
does.
your endorphins going. You're already kind of starting the day on a positive.
It's
Exactly.
true.
Even if it's a shit workout, it's like you still got it done. So there is like some satisfaction to
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So everything else kind of seems to potentially fall into line. Yeah,
100%. Definitely,
So
definitely.
that's good.
So the mastermind set courses. There's fitness. How about some books? Any books that you've been reading that helped you?
Oh man, I have such a bad memory with like names and book titles and stuff. But yeah, I listen to audiobooks like daily, pretty much.
Yeah.
Be the Leader I'm listening to right now. Shit.
It's okay if you can't
I'm
think
not
of
gonna be
them.
able to think of any.
It's all right. It's all right. How about like Rich Dad Poor Dad? Have you read that?
Yeah, that was one of the very first books
That's a good
that
book.
I've listened to.
I just
that was like 10
finished
years
it.
ago.
Yep, I just finished it.
I listen to podcasts a lot. I listen to Andy Frisella's podcast all the time. I listen to Ed Milet's podcast all the time. If I'm not on a book, it's a podcast. You got to fill your brain with the right shit, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's times where I'm like consciously like I got to, my brain would be better off just listening to music and being relaxed for the next week than filling my brain with more information than you need, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Because sometimes you get like an analysis by paralysis. You know, it's like too much information. It's like if I could just execute on 3% of the things I've learned from these books, I'd be good.
Right.
I don't need any more books.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What's like a day-to-day like life for you? Like what like how's your day-to-day routine look?
So I wake up at 5. First thing I do is I'll journal. I'll just dump the stuff out of my head. So I have like a little notebook next to me. I don't really have any structure to it. It's just whatever I'm feeling. So I'll write like I'm dehydrated, you know, today is, and then I'll try and finish it on like what I want the day to be like. So I'll end it like, today I have this to do and I'm going to crush it. You know, today I have this podcast and I want to be, you know, I want to speak clearly. I want to be charismatic, whatever. I'll try and like put that into the universe like first thing in the morning. Then I'll go to the gym, come home. I take cold showers, which I do all the time. I love cold showers. That's
You're a brave man.
Christian hates it.
You're a brave man, my
love
friend.
cold showers. Not all the time. I got to say in the winter sometimes it's tough, but I would say like 80% of the time it's cold. And then from there, I drive my daughter to school, which I love that. That's like my favorite part of the day. We just talk, you know, we just take her around.
How old is your daughter?
She's 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I drive her to school. As soon as I drop her off, it's go time, you know, and then I follow what's in my calendar for the rest of the day. So I plan my day every night. I look at my calendar for the next day. And I put everything in my calendar. Even if I need to do literally anything, it's in my calendar. So like, I don't have to think about it. You know, like I feel like if there's too many things happening to have to like think about what the next move is. So I'll make sure everything's loaded in for the next day. And then it's just mindless. I'm just blowing through the day, just knocking things out through my calendar. It's a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
It's managing managers. So usually it'll be something like, I don't know, 9:30, I'll meet with the area director of the restaurants, depending on the day of the week. We have a weekly meeting with him, talk about what's going on for the week, what the numbers look like. From there, my like main office is at Neutra. So if I have like know where I have to be, I'll go there. Always looking at the operations, that kind of thing. I'll stop by restaurants all the time at different parts of the day just to see how it looks at those times of day. You know, is the bathrooms clean? Is the floor picked up? Is there cigarette butts at the front door? That kind of thing. And then it's just more meetings. And then at night, I try and make it a point to show face at one of the restaurants at least every single night.
I've seen you over at Forno before.
Yeah.
My girlfriend.
It's been there more because it's new.
Yeah.
And it just needs more support.
Right.
You know, it needs more like presence. But now it's kind of gotten to the point where it's carrying on its own. And now it's like the other ones are getting left out a little bit. So I'm trying to spend more time there.
So would you say that you're definitely more the CEO or maybe the more hands-on brother of the restaurants?
Yeah, I would say like if like in my email title it says director of operations, but it's whatever we need to be at any time, you know. But I'm the one who's directly dealing with all the employees, all the day-to-day, everywhere. So we have area directors now too. So we're staffed in a way that I'm not talking to, you know, individual employees every day. I'm talking more to the managers and directors and trying to lead them to lead the others. So that's kind of my role now. My older brother is kind of more, he spends a lot of his time on real estate. So we all do different things, which is cool. So he, you know, I know that we're not losing ground on real estate because he's looking every single day. You know, right now we have some projects going on in Florida that he's working on. He knows that the businesses are being run properly. At the same time, my younger brothers developing this marketing team so we can start building these partnerships with other companies. So we stay out of each other's way. You know, we trust each other 100%, and we talk about things. You know, so we'll circle up. We'll be on the phone on a 3-way at least a couple times a day. Like, what do you have going on for the rest of the day? We're all in a shared calendar.
Yeah.
So we all know where each other's going to be. If there's something we need to meet about, we'll meet about it. You know, there's no time off limits. And then I usually get home around, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock at night, depending on the day.
So I'm also curious about that because earlier you said in the beginning you were really close to like the staff.
Yeah.
You were like friendly with them, and then you realized that was
Yeah,
an
didn't
issue.
work, yeah.
So like, what did you learn from then to now, and that's, you know, made you successful in leading the other managers or the other directors and things like that?
So it's a big shift in mindset. It's a different, I need to be a different leader now than I needed to be 5 years ago.
Okay.
You know, when you're the one managing the one store, it's a completely different type of leadership style than when you're leading 3 stores and you're trying to teach leaders how to lead. You know, so now we're doing things like we have a quarterly leadership seminar where all the companies come and we just talk about leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all the you know, the managers, directors, things like that, like all the important people at each of the companies. And we're talking not about any specific company. It's just about leadership in general, things to work on this quarter. We'll ask, we kind of made it like a mastermind group too. So people will say, bring your problems. Like, let's talk about it with the group. Like, what are things that you've run into? What are you struggling with? Is there any issues that you want to bring to the table that we can help you solve? And that's been really cool. That's helping.
And you do that quarterly?
Quarterly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think the difference is, and Jeremiah, my coach, he says it all the time, and he says, be the leader that you would follow. Right? So if you really think, it seems so simple, but if you really think about it, like, in order for one of you guys to follow somebody, you know, running your own business and that kind of thing, you would only follow a badass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so I'm trying to be that person. You know, I think about that every single day. I want to be the person that I would follow. And then without having to say or do too much, it's all inside work, you know? So just going to the gym, you know, looking the part. That's another reason why, you know, I wanted the fitness to appear the way it is. It's because I want everyone else to be doing that too. I want people to look at me and think he's got that figured out. You know, he's got a certain level of discipline and, you know, whatever it is, he's not showing up late to meetings. You know, you set the standard for the whole company. And now it's a lot of people. So the more pressure, the more people there is, the more I continue to build myself. Yeah, so no, it's a completely different style of leadership than it was before, and that was a hard transition for me too because I was really good at small groups. Like, I'm an introvert, you know, like in my core, that's who I am. Like, I prefer to talk one-on-one with people or one-on-two small groups. So it was hard for me to make that transition to, you know, leadership seminars and that kind of thing, and I needed help for it, you know. But at least I had the humility to understand, and I put my ego aside. Like, I need help to get to this next step. And I got it, and it's working. You know, it's something I need to work on every single day. I think about it every day. That's something I think about every day.
What about with like some bad apples in the company?
Yeah.
How do you go about that? Like, if you got to let someone go or you have to have those hard conversations, like, typically what is your process in dealing with something like that?
I've let nothing fester. Nothing. Okay. If there's something that comes up, I attack it.
Nip it at the bud right away.
Instant. And I don't make assumptions either. I'll just, you know, I did have a lot of trouble with having tough conversations, and everybody does across the board. All managers, anybody who manages other people, they have a hard time with tough conversations. And it's just practice, because you realize every time you do have the tough conversation, the outcome is beautiful. Everybody's happy, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, even the person you talk to who might be getting called out, there's a sense of relief for them too, you know? But I make it a priority. If there's a tough conversation that needs to be had, that's the first thing that's happening. You know, it's going in my calendar. I'm going right at that person. And I'll just ask them, hey, what's going on? This is what I'm seeing. You know, is there an explanation? Is there something I can help you with? And I try and take all the excuses off the table for anybody, you know? Well, it's like, you know, I could do this, but if I had this, I could do a better job. All right, I'll get you that. And now you have no more excuses. You know what I mean?
Have you ever had to like let go of a lot of people or
Oh.
anything like that?
I got a hit list. I got a big kill list.
Damn.
You have to.
So what's
man.
that like?
You
then?
have to. I mean, dude, when people get in your company that are cancerous, it spreads like wildfire, you know, especially when you have somebody, a bad apple in a leadership position.
Oh, yeah.
Then it just replicates and creates bad apples below them. And then they hire. That's another challenge too, is when you have other people hiring people in your company, the people doing the hiring better be good at hiring, and they need to really, they need to be an extension of you guys, you know, they need to be an extension of me.
Right.
They need to make the same hire that we would, you know what I mean? So that's hard. You know,
So what's that process like? Is it like, do you sit down with them, have a conversation, give them a warning, second time, maybe 3 strikes you're out? Or?
Yeah. So now, you know, now we have to be a little bit, you got to be careful, you know, like we have, you know, you got to follow like HR standards. So it needs to be like a 3 strike, you know, so we write people up. So yeah, we write people up the 3rd time you're out, but usually once you write somebody up the 1st time, you're kind of just, you're circling because you know you're going to get rid of them. But no, I don't take that lightly at all. I try hard with people, you know, like I said, the first thing I'll do is I'll try and take all the excuse off the table. I'll make sure that there's nothing that I could have done better or that the company could have provided to that person in order to succeed in the position before they get let go. So I never have regrets doing it, because by the time I get to that point, I know that we've exhausted every single option. And sometimes it's just like, hey man, it's not working for you either. You know, it's not working for me. It's not working for you. I think, you know, I think you'll have more success doing this. And I've recommended people to work for other people. You know, I've told people, I think you'd be a better salesperson than a manager. And then they go off and get a sales job and they're doing better off. You know what I mean? So I take pride in that too. You know, in a leadership role, it's developing people, but not just to work in your company, keeping them small. You know, I like to develop people on a personal level. Be as big as you can. If you're learning stuff here and you think you can open your own restaurant, fucking go for it. I'll be your biggest fan.
It's like us with with a gym, you know, like we have trainers that have aspirations to open up another gym.
It's cool as hell.
You know, one trainer almost wanted to do that recently and was wanting to buy one of our, you know, old pieces of equipment. We're like, we'll hold it for you. We'll sell it for you. No problem.
That's actually, it's a compliment to you. That's the way I look at it. You know, it's like we showed them something that made them feel like they have the ability to do it. They learned enough here that they can apply those skills to open their own gym. It's like a coaching tree, you know, but trying to keep people small, especially this day and age, you know, just do your job. Like that doesn't work, man.
Yeah.
You got to let people flourish into what they want.
Unless you're Bill Belichick.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's not here anymore.
No.
Sorry, Bill.
That's exactly why our gym works too, because at the end of the day, with the concept of escaping the matrix, we're giving the opportunity to these trainers in corporate gyms that get paid absolute dick to actually make money and like see that there's no cap in what you can make, especially in the online space. You know, Mike does online. Yeah. And he doesn't, if he was at any other corporate gym, for example, they would charge the client up the ass and then they give him like, you know, 1/4 of that. Yeah. So it's just like,
you give them the freedom.
You know what I mean? And I get it, you know, from their perspective, but you know, like we're setting these guys free ultimately. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I admire what you guys are doing. I think you guys are going to kick ass. I could see a lot of gyms in your future.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
We won 15.
Yeah, 15, man. If you could see it and you believe it, it can happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All over the Northeast, East Coast, maybe even worldwide.
I need one in Dubai, though.
Why not?
Yeah, well, Dubai.
I need one in Dubai.
If you go there, you need a gym to go to.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to live there, too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Apartment at least, you know.
So let's get into like, well, one, I have a funny story too, but like before that, like I want to know like, so what have you been seeing in like your own podcast, right? So obviously for everyone listening, he has the Behind the Rise podcast, and you've had some big guests, and you're probably a little. When did you guys even start that?
About a year ago.
About a year. So you're obviously further ahead than we are. So like, what have you noticed that works, doesn't work? You know, maybe something that we can kind of steal from you a little bit to kind of get this going as well.
So we look at it kind of like a hobby, you know, like we're not trying to get anything from it, but I think what it's given us is exposure. Like I think these people coming to us for, you know, wanting like these equity type partnerships and asking for help. They're all people that have listened to the podcast, so we've had no idea who they were. Okay. So it's definitely bringing new opportunity.
The knowledge, I think, right? Like at the end
Yeah.
of the day, like I'm learning so much right now just from listening to you talk. So it's,
Oh,
it's
dude, that's
you know,
the biggest
it's
thing.
so sick to have different guests on and
You-
share their
You
stories.
nailed it. You nailed it. I mean, every time we talk to somebody, half the I don't talk much. I don't know if you've listened to our podcast.
Oh yeah.
My other brothers, they don't shut the fuck up. So I just sit there and I go in there knowing,
Just
like,
take it
I
in.
might ask 1 or 2 questions, and I'll just boom, boom. I have notes.
Yeah.
This person, this is what I learned today. And there's not a single person that has come on that I haven't taken something from that I'm applying right away. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's been huge, and just creating these connections. You know, we'll be closer. You know, after we leave here. So
Yeah.
you've created a connection with cool people too.
Right.
Exactly.
If nothing else comes from it, I mean that's pretty cool. And your network is a
100%.
big deal. You know.
100%.
Your network is your net worth.
I think that's a big thing that you know, I wanted to shoot for this year, especially even with this podcast. And I'll get into that story actually. So, like, one of the main reasons why we started the podcast is because I was trying to get us, Christian and I, to get on a podcast,
Okay.
right?
Oh yes.
And
now I
then,
remember.
do you remember?
Yeah, I remember now.
So, and then we had partnered with Neutra at the time,
Yep.
you know, and Valentino. I
Yep.
met him, had his number and stuff. And I messaged him one day. I was like, hey, man, let's, you know, it'd be sick if we got on your podcast, right? And he didn't answer me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right? And then I posted it on a Facebook group, and then someone referred Angelo.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, all right, let me add Angelo. He didn't answer either.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let's start our own podcast. I didn't even think of messaging you.
Dude, it's hard. I mean,
Yeah, no, it
it's
is.
hard. It's hard, and it definitely makes you. It humbles you a little bit.
Oh
You know,
my gosh,
I've
tell me
tried-
about it.
I've tried. But now I'm at the point after, like you said, it's like you got to attract it. Don't chase it. you know?
Yeah,
So my whole thing is like
100%.
I'm just gonna be a person that's worthy of being on a podcast. I'm gonna let it come to me.
Definitely.
You know, instead of knocking on people's doors or DMing
Yeah.
them and shit like that.
That was one of my goals for when we first started too, is getting more in front of a camera.
Yeah.
You
that's
know,
another huge thing.
like
too.
that's huge.
Yeah.
Like being able to have those tough conversations and,
Yeah.
and being in front of a camera, especially now in the digital age and everybody's on social media. And I guess you're this gym owner or an owner of
Yeah.
anything. You have to be able to,
You do.
you know,
I
present
still
yourself
struggle
in a
with that.
certain
I
way.
struggle with that. My social media, that's part of the reason why I'm here today. It's just to get reps, you know,
Mhm.
get better at talking on camera and that kind of thing. But my story, you know, I don't post much of myself talking. It's because I'm not comfortable doing it.
Mhm.
But that's one thing. That's something that I'm going to work on this year. You know, like I'll conquer that this year for sure. Like I have that in my head. That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
But yeah, it also helps for content.
for sure.
It's a steady flow of content. You know, like you
Sure.
guys are getting good, high quality clips all the time, right?
Sure.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you would just be talking into your camera. So it's good just to mix
Right.
in some content, you know, talk about different shit.
Definitely. Yeah, we get shadow banned a lot.
Oh man.
I don't know if you guys ever do you guys run into that at all?
We haven't yet, no.
Really?
No.
It's because we
Damn.
talk about
We talk about a lot of bullshit. Too.
Yeah. No, my little brother gets shadow banned all the time.
Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. Perfect.
He loves talking politics. So.
Yeah.
His
I mean, I
Instagram-
don't love it. I just like see like the corruption of it. So then sometimes we like point that other opinions out, and then we get shadow banned.
Yeah. No, it's crazy how fast it'll happen too. Tino's Instagram got
Gosh.
deleted completely.
Oh no
shit.
way.
And he's got like 30,000 followers too. So he's a builder. He was like, "What the? Are you kidding?"
That's rough.
Because he posted a story. It was something about like the border or some shit like that. I don't even know.
Yeah.
And boom, just like that, deleted.
Yeah.
So he hired some like hacker or something that got it back.
Oh wow.
He got it back in like an
Dude,
hour.
after Andrew Tate, all
Yeah.
of that stuff has just been like so strict. Now you can't do anything.
It's crazy.
Oh, they
It's
won't-
a
they don't
little
want you to
scary.
do
That was the first time I've seen it like firsthand.
Mhm.
It's pretty scary. I'm like, dude,
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
what he posted wasn't even a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
that's what he got banned for. Just like that, his voice is cut off.
Yeah.
You know,
Literally.
Yeah, that's wild. That's
Scary that we live
stupid,
in
but it is what it is.
yeah, this kind of world. But you know, it's because big pharma and social media, they own everything.
yeah, wherever
Yeah.
the money is.
Basically.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm super curious, as in like future goals. I know you said 10 restaurants,
Yeah.
but what about for Neutra and you know the solar and all of that,
Yeah.
all the real estate, or potentially move? I mean, my goal is going to Dubai and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
what are your like big time goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, etc.?
So our plan for Neutra is we're building it to exit. So we
Oh wow.
we know exactly what we've talked to everybody. You know, valuations. We've been we've gotten appraised. You know, so everything we look at now, every business we look at, we're building it in a way that it can be exited, whether or not we're going to exit it or not. But Neutra, it's no secret that we're looking to exit, and we want to exit for 150 million.
Wow.
So we're on pace to do that in the next 3 years, I would say. 3 years would be max.
How many meals does Neutr sell per week? I remember Valentino saying something like 40K, but that was a bit ago. So I don't know if what you guys are.
It's probably like, I don't know the exact meal number. I would say between 40 and 50,000 a week.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's insane. $150 million exit.
So
Doesn't
50,
sound
50,
too bad.
50 each.
Yeah, 50 each. We'll just go into
Is that how you guys are
we'll
split it?
still be taking our $100,000 paycheck though. I'll tell
I
you
respect that.
Yeah, we will. And
respect
we'll take that money and we'll turn it into $1 billion. That's
Wow.
what our goal will be.
And
I love it.
And then in what
I love it.
industry? We'll just continue with
I-
the other things, or
I think it's going to be these equity partnerships. I think I can really see that in our future. So the Premier is the first company that we've done that with, and we're seeing that we're good at it and the value we could provide there, like at a high level, because we have so much experience in different industries. So there's really not a lot of businesses that we can't figure out. There's probably some things that are off limits, but think any hospitality, any food manufacturing, whether it's a product. We have experience with like selling sauces at retail stores. So we talk to a lot of different people have come to us in the food manufacturing space, even construction. My brother, mother, and father, they're all general contractors since they've been doing
wow.
in real estate agents too. Like I have my real estate license. So we all know real estate. We know houses up and down. We know contractors. So any building side of things. So like, bathroom remodels, kitchen design, we could do that. So I could see that in our future, so this marketing company building it in a way that, we could just plug companies in where it's vertically integrated too. So the company that we're partnering with is getting great marketing, but the marketing company is also getting paid, at a fair rate.
Yeah.
So the marketing company is getting paid. We have our equity piece, but we know that the marketing for the company is correct. It's proper. You know what I mean? You're not running, because you could piss away a lot of money on marketing with the wrong Facebook people and Google people. We spent 10 freaking years with Neutr. I mean, I don't even think Neutra's been alive for 10 years, but I feel like since we've been open, it's been chasing the right marketing company.
Mm-hmm.
So since we built our own in-house, it's really changed the trajectory of everything. So I don't know. I feel like that's the move there, and I think that's what we'll do for fun, because I think we'll really enjoy that. That'll be fun to do. And then I think we'll always be buying real estate too.
Hell yeah.
We'll always just be buying and holding, flipping if there's a good deal. But I can see real estate and these partnerships, because that gives us the freedom of location freedom. We don't have to be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm here.
Mm.
Like our roots are freaking deep here between the restaurants and Neutr. But I'm thinking down the hall. I could see the restaurants at an exit too. Like if we get to 8 to 10, for sure we'll exit. But what we'd like to remain with would be real estate and these equity partnerships.
Gotcha.
That's dope.
Did you know that I think 100% of billionaires are in private equity?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think that's
the
a smart
same
move.
idea.
I was watching Tony Robinson's podcast with Georgienko, and he was talking about private equity, bro. That's what you got to get into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. No, private equity is a crazy game.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how your path can be. I talked to a kid who got an internship in college at a private equity group. So he graduated college. He started his own private equity group. And now that kid is a leader of a group that bought P.F. Chang's
Wow.
for like 200. What the hell was the number? I think it was 350 million. That was the number.
Mhm.
That's how much they bought P.F. Chang's for.
Wow.
And now it's worth like over $1 billion.
Wow.
You know,
bro.
but if you're in that space, it's crazy. Like the vehicle that you're in, that's why we never wanted to get tied down to one industry, because we felt like and had the awareness to know that there's a lot of other things out there, like we don't need to only be, we don't need to only know food and restaurants. We don't need to only know real estate. Like we could do it all. There's 3 of us.
So speaking of that, then, how much time do you set aside to learn these other industries?
So as they come up, I think that's like a natural entrepreneurship thing too. Like when you need to learn something, you freaking
just
learn
do
it
it, right?
fast. Yeah,
Right.
you just put your head down, and all the information's there, man. There's no secrets anymore.
Right. Oh my gosh, everything's out there. There's almost too much now.
Yeah. And the good thing is, when you're cash flowing, and now we're at a point where it's like if there's things that we don't know, we could hire for that thing. You know what I mean? Like if we need
Right.
to bring somebody in that has a specific set of skills, we could do that. But we always we're old school too. Like when we started in the restaurant, I was a waiter, bartender, cook, pizza guy. Like I want to know exactly what's going on too. So how to hire, how to troubleshoot, how to make changes. Like
Right.
never want to rely on one person. But, once you get to a point where you can afford it, you can hire people to bring in specific skills that you feel like you're missing to supplement what's going on,
Yeah.
Do you have a specific checklist when it comes to hiring people, like the right people that you know like isn't gonna give you a headache like later down the road. That you know they tick all the boxes.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the position, but I look for character only. I don't give a shit what your experience was.
Right.
If I'm hiring for like wait staff or bussers or like, you know, things like that don't require, you know, honestly, experience hurts most of the time in those types of positions. So I'm just looking for good people, you know, like it really depends on the position. But you know, good character, high integrity type people.
Yeah, that's deep.
You know, you could work with those people. It doesn't matter. You know, they can learn. Are they willing to learn?
Yeah.
Um,
It creates a better environment, right? At the end of the day, you can have someone that has 10 years of experience but is a dick, or you can have someone that's just so willing to learn, super charismatic, and it's just going, regardless if they're doing a good job or not, they're making the customer feel good because of their
exactly.
right. So it enhances their experience, and then they're gonna want to come back regardless if they're doing good or not.
Yeah, people with experience, you can't change them. They feel like their way is the right way, and
Right.
you know,
Oh
but
my gosh.
it's more about a fit. I look for a fit. You know,
Yeah.
are they gonna fit in with the culture? Are they gonna fit in with the other people here? You know, putting a team together. There's not 10 Tom Bradys. You know,
Right.
there's one Tom Brady. Everybody fills a different slot. You know, so I look a lot about fit, character, integrity, and values. You know, do our values align? Are you the kind of person that, you know, that I would respect? You know.
Yeah. 100%, man.
That's sick.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lucio. I got one more thing before we conclude the episode. Do you have any regrets?
No. I'm.
No
You know,
regrets.
especially lately, I'm a person of. I believe shit happens for a reason. You know, I have a lot of faith. I've been praying a lot lately. I think
There you go.
everything has its own. Everything has its own path. I don't regret anything. I really don't.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think everything will unfold exactly the way it's supposed to if you put enough effort towards it,
Yeah. And I think that's a key thing too.
enough action.
You have to put in the effort, because if you don't, you're just, what's the saying? You're something flowing in the wind. You're just letting life just manhandle you all the time.
Yeah, there's two things. Visualizing, I think, is important, but without action, it doesn't work. You need both.
Right.
Put those two things together, I think anything's possible.
In the Bible, it says faith without works is dead. Right.
That's it.
So I can have all the faith in the world that I'm gonna have 15 gyms. Oh, God is gonna bless me with 15 gyms.
Right.
But I'm
Gotta
gonna
put
go
in
home
work.
and take a nap, and nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
At
for
the end of the
sure.
day, so it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate you being here. We really, really appreciate it. It was such a good podcast. But before we go, every guest has to answer my rapid fire questions before we conclude the episode.
All right, let's go.
So these questions right here are made to be fun. They're not supposed to be serious. A little bit of math in them, just a wee bit. And yeah, they're just supposed
He's
to
a
be
numbers
fun.
guy, so he's good.
Yeah, we're numbers guys.
Yeah, I'm down with math.
Awesome. So there's only 5 questions. Like I said, they're meant to be fun. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get it. Push, pull, or legs?
Pull.
Okay, yes, my man right here.
Yeah.
My man. What kind of pizza style is your favorite? Neapolitan, New Haven, New York, Chicago, Sicilian, or Detroit?
That's an easy one for me. I'm from Naples,
Yeah.
Neapolitan.
Yes, sir.
All day.
Me too. What's your favorite car?
I mean, I like big SUVs.
Okay.
You know,
Do you have a dream car?
not really cars and material shit doesn't really do it for me. You know,
Okay.
but I like you know, I like Ferraris, G wagons. You know, I like
Man.
nice shit, but it
Yeah.
doesn't. They don't move the needle for me. Cars.
Gotcha. All right. Now, what's your favorite song to play on the guitar?
Oh, dude, Enter Sandman.
Ha
Oh,
ha!
yeah, banger.
Yeah.
There we go.
That was the first song I learned on my guitar. I played guitar in middle school. I still have the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to do some research
You
about
still play?
I honestly tried picking it back up again, and I didn't have the patience for it. But
Really?
I'm gonna at some point.
Okay.
I hope so.
I would love to.
That'd be awesome, man. I would
Yeah.
love for you to play and put on. Here we go. This year, you have to play and you have to put it on Instagram.
I was just about to say, you got to record yourself doing it.
That would be-
Documenting the process of getting back and playing guitar.
That'd be a breakthrough right
That's
there.
Yes,
two.
sir.
You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, I'll do that for you.
Awesome.
I'll tag your ass too when I do.
Hell yeah. There we go.
Yes. All right. And the last question and the most important question of them all. Ass or tits?
Oh man, tits. I've been a tits guy my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's
Yeah.
the first person that's ever said tits.
Really?
I think.
Second.
Is it the second?
I mean, it's like 51-49 though. You know. what
Okay.
I
Oh,
mean?
okay. So you're like right there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. All right. I don't judge, I guess. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lucio. Do you want to give everyone your social media so they can reach out to you if ever?
Or the
Yeah,
businesses.
sure.
And the businesses,
Yeah.
yes.
So business website, alvhospitality.com. You can find Neutra there, all the restaurants there. My social media Instagram handle is Lucio Perrina _ LucioPerrina _
Dope.
Awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
man.
thank you so much,
guys.
man.
I had a great time. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Dos Santos?
No. Besides maybe a part 2 with another brother or something. I
With
don't know.
another two
We'll
of
see.
them.
Be able to work that in.
Yeah, we would love to get all of them
Yeah,
in.
that'd be
All
dope.
of you guys in would be great. Anything else, Alex? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay safe out there.
We gonna